Before we get into today's video, I wanted to give a big thanks to our sponsor, ExpressVPN. They offer you some great protection for your devices and allow you to watch region-blocked content wherever you are. A VPN is otherwise known as a virtual private network, and is basically a way to mask yourself while you browse the internet. Wearing a mask is probably under mine right now anyway, so why not protect your internet identity with one so hackers and spies can't get your information? Though just offering protection isn't the only thing this great service will offer you. You can use all that extra time you have no longer worrying about your safety by logging in to, say, Netflix Canada, and enjoying well over a dozen awesome Studio Ghibli movies. Thanks to ExpressVPN, it doesn't matter where you are. You'll be able to dig in and watch outstanding films like Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro in a safe and reliable way. If you sign up for ExpressVPN now, you'll be able to experience the thrilling feeling of safety and worldwide entertainment. You can go to expressvpn.com/MysticUmbreon and get 3 months for free when you sign up. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to learn more and get protected today. So not too long ago, we ranked all the starter Pokemon, and came to the conclusion that Venusaur, Blaziken, and Greninja were the strongest among their respective types. But how did those three fare against each other? Well, today, we'll be analyzing all three of them and finding out once and for all who the strongest truly is. These Pokemon will be compared off of their most recent possible movesets from the games they were last featured in, as Blaziken and Greninja obviously aren't in the current Pokemon Sword and Shield games. We will also take into account any forms these Pokemon have, such as Megas for Venusaur and Blaziken, and the Ash Greninja form for Greninja. Without wasting any more of your guys' time though, let's get right into the discussion. Venusaur is the overall best grass starter Pokemon, and with very good reason for it being so highly ranked. While Venusaur, unlike its counterparts, doesn't have some incredibly over-the-top hidden ability, Chlorophyll on top of offensive options like Weather Ball and Solar Beam have offensively made this thing a nightmare to play against in weather builds. On top of this, Venusaur gained Earth Power this gen to finally touch Steel types without running a mixed defensive set, which is incredibly beneficial since its stab typing is walled out by that. Offensively, in the Sun, Venusaur has an incredible way to set up through growth, giving it a +2 boost to both defenses, which is an incredible free way to get Venusaur a boost to guarantee one-hit KOs with its stabs or coverage when it forces a switch versus any threatening water that may have came in on your Sun setter to take fire stab hits from it. Offensively, Venusaur also has the option of the Gigantamax now, thanks to the Isle of Armor DLC. Its Gigantamax form grants it the ability to deal a lot of powerful damage over time through G-Max Vine Lash, which hits for a 1/6 damage for 4 turns to non-grass type Pokemon, on top of dealing a destructive stab hit versus your opponent. Venusaur having this HP boost helps it significantly in the Sun as well, seeing as it becomes a very hard Pokemon to kill. Even if you manage to land a hit against it when it's reaching such destructive speeds, you'll barely make a dent in it unless you're using a Talonflame, as nothing else really wants to take its stabs plus coverage while hitting it for enough damage when maxed. Running Growth as well gives you a max guard option, so you can scout your opponent as well after having Gigantamax while still giving a valuable setup option prior to doing so. Offensively, Venusaur is definitely a problematic Pokemon for teams to counter, and even if that was all Venusaur has doing for it, I could see it being a high tier grass starter. Venusaur, unlike our other starter options, also has a viable defensive option to it as well, that contributes to why it's so viable. Venusaur, being a grass poison type, already gains it some really key typings, as Poisonly defensively gains it a toxic immunity while being able to absorb toxic spikes, while the typing together with grass gives a solid switch against key offensive typings, such as resistance to fighting, fairy, grass, water, and electric types, which most of these typings are pretty valuable when building a team of 6. Venusaur, also unlike our other options, gains recovery through Synthesis and Leech Seed, which only helps to benefit these more defensive variants. Venusaur's abilities in a regular form don't benefit much here sadly, but it's not that important because of Venusaur's Mega Evolution. Mega Venusaur helps expand on Venusaur's defensive viability to an incredible extent. While Mega Venusaur again doesn't have some incredibly broken ability, Thick Fat helps Mega Venusaur combat 2 weaknesses it has prior to Mega Evolving, being Fire and Ice. Especially if Venusaur were to run Chlorophyll prior and try sweeping a team on Sun, Venusaur could then Mega Evolve before being picked off by some scary Fire type threat, and then actually take the hit while clicking Earth Power to pick off the enemy while soaking up the hit. Mega Venusaur's bulk increases to a whopping 80 HP, 123 defense, and 120 special defense, on top of this making it an incredible sponge in battle. Overall, Venusaur is as threatening defensively as it is offensively, which makes it an incredibly diverse starter to play against that should not be taken lightly when seen at Team Preview. Greninja being the top water starter should genuinely surprise nobody, Greninja has a lot going for it offensively through its 2 amazing abilities it can run. For base Greninja, you have a pretty solid mixed defensive Pokemon with a nice 122 speed to boast, on top of a nice mixed defensive set of 95 attack and 103 special attack. Now on paper, this seems far from some best water type starter, which I could agree with, until you look at Greninja's hidden ability, Protean. Protean changes Greninja's typing to the type of whatever move it's about to use, meaning Greninja will be hitting every attack with a 1.5 times stab bonus. That type of boost is incredible on a Mon with such mixed defenses and such a wide range of coverage that can easily be adapted based on what your team is weak to. Greninja forces so many switches that some people even opt to run options such as Taunt or Hazards through Spikes or Toxic Spikes in order to take advantage of switch-ins, as limited as they are to this Pokemon. In tandem with the momentum this provides through U-turn, you have an incredibly fast option that hits ridiculously hard while having almost no true counterplay. However, Greninja has another option that is arguably as viable as this, being its Ash Greninja form. On release, this Pokemon seemed like it'd be an extremely inferior Greninja in every way, as Greninja had its stab boost in every typing, on top of the fact it didn't have to start as a basic Torrent Greninja. However, upon boosting into Ash Greninja form, you have a Pokemon that has 145 attack, 153 special attack, and 132 speed. On top of this, unlike a Mega Pokemon, you can throw an item onto Greninja, such as Choice Specs or Life Orb, to make it even more threatening. Ash Greninja could also take advantage of the Z-move mechanic in order to gain a free kill to push it into Ash Greninja mode, and then revenge off teams with its stab options. Speaking of, in Generation 7, a buff Greninja got alongside this form was Water Shuriken, becoming a special option. That, alongside the ability Battle Bond that Ash Greninja has, grants Water Shuriken a boost from a 2 to 5 hit 15 BP per hit move to a 3 hit guaranteed move that hits 22.5 base power per hit, basically guaranteeing that Water Shuriken hits just under what it'd output for dealing 5 hits of a non-boosted Water Shuriken, while still giving it a 50 base increase to its special attack stat. Ash Greninja could easily run an item such as Choice Specs to revenge a team with such a strong priority attack, or even just pivot out if the matchup wasn't favorable for doing so, and take advantage of a majority of teams, because on Team Preview, you can't tell if it's Ash Greninja form or Protean. This makes the diversity in how they're run and played that much more terrifying for such a set to thrive, especially since it has a niche of being one of the truly few viable offensive water types in the metagame. Finally, we have the best fire starter Pokemon, Blaziken. Now, Blaziken has been the epitome of broken starters throughout the years, and with good reason too. In the 5th generation, when hidden abilities were first introduced, Blaziken gained the speed boost ability, which made the 80 base Pokemon with 120 attack and 110 special attack into a terrifying revenge killer. Blaziken could easily run Protect in order to gain the speed boost, and with its stab of fire and fighting, most teams basically had to forfeit or get swept at that point. Blaziken could also force switch-ins this way, taking out with the Swords Dance in order to set up for an even easier win. If you think that's bad enough, if Blaziken ever felt like it couldn't win a game on its own, it could easily baton pass and pivot into another Pokemon while still giving its speed boost to something more capable of revenging a team. Blaziken's typing is already a struggle for most teams, but imagine then if you just didn't feel confident in swooping with it, pivoting out into some other breaker with +3 or +4 speed because you already got a kill with Blaziken after using Protect, and then getting another Protect off before going into a baton pass. This Pokemon creates an offensive nightmare for any team to play against, even if you're running the most Blaziken heavy counterplay you can. Blaziken also has a variety of items that are incredibly viable with it on these sets, such as Life Orb, leftovers to take advantage of Protect turns, or even a Z Crystal to break through fat builds that much easier. Blaziken has even more going for it, however, through the addition of Mega Blaziken. Mega Blaziken, I will admit, isn't much better than a regular one, as Mega Blaziken doesn't even hit as hard as something like, let's say, a Life Orb Blaziken would. However, Mega Blaziken has an extra base 20 speed, which helps immensely with countering most viable Scarf options after a simple Protect. Blaziken's biggest worry before Mega would be potential Choice Scarf options hiding their Scarf until Blaziken came in, only to pick it off. But the jump from 80 to 100 base speed helps fix this issue immensely. Mega Blaziken also doesn't have to worry about taking as much recoil to hit hard through Life Orb, which on a set such as a Baton Pass variant helps significantly with keeping a super alive. Most teams may try to chip through Rocky Helmet or Iron Barbs, as Blaziken's physical coverage is mostly contact base, and in general is a lot more reliable than attacking with Fire Blast or Focus Blast. But if you take away Life Orb to get off your damage, you increase the amount of damage from those types of counterplay you can take, because you're not constantly taking 10%. So while Mega Blaziken isn't objectively better than Blaziken, it offers some nice options to at least help sweep a team easier. So out of our Grass, Fire, and Water starter Pokemon, who's the strongest? Well, in comparison to our other options, Blaziken is for sure the best of the best because it takes the best of both the other starter options. Venusaur's greatest strength offensively was the option to speed boost through Chlorophyll. Blaziken's speed boosting, unlike Venusaur's however, doesn't rely on weather being up for 5 to 8 turns, as Blaziken just gains speed every turn it's out in the field. Compared to Greninja however, Blaziken is a naturally hard hitter that can pick off teams pretty effortlessly with stabs alone. While Blaziken doesn't have every attack become a stab option like Greninja does, Blaziken's fire and fighting options are insanely difficult for most teams to switch against. And outside of that, it has options such as Earthquake or Thunder Punch that can help pick off otherwise threatening counterplay. Blaziken, also like Venusaur, can set up pretty easily with Swords Dance, whereas something such as Greninja has Workup for its best setup option. Blaziken not only set the standard for what it means to be an overpowered starter Pokemon, but even still to this day has easily held the crown for being the best starter Pokemon across all generations. While Venusaur and Greninja are definitely threatening in their own right, neither of them hold a candle to Blaziken. The only thing Blaziken lacks are the diversity Venusaur gives through defensive options and the hazard support that Greninja provides. However, that doesn't matter when Blaziken can just pressure almost every team imaginable with its semi-predictable sets that just destroy teams on preview. Well, that's the end of this video on the best starter, and I think after really analyzing these options, I feel really confident in saying while these are all really broken Pokemon, Blaziken is by far the best option of the three. I know that this list may change as more Pokemon potentially come through the upcoming Crown Tundra DLC, and maybe some new tutor moves for any of these Pokemon, or even one of the other starters potentially beating Blaziken out for the best starter. However, as of this recording, I feel confident in saying this list won't be changing anytime soon. Due to Blaziken proving over 4 generations now, it is in fact the best starter. I hope you guys did enjoy this video though, and be sure to let me know in the comments below what you guys think the best starter Pokemon is. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream all sorts of games from Pokemon to Fire Emblem to Zelda and much more. I also have an anime channel called MysticSage where I do anime reviews, rankings, and countdowns. So if you're interested in that kind of content, go ahead and check that out as well. If you want to support me even further and gain cool perks, check out my Patreon. These lovely people have all given me their support over there, and I couldn't be more grateful to them. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.